Morning. We want to talk about toxic relationships. What is a toxic relationship? What is a toxic relationship? Let's talk a little bit about what's a toxic relationship. Here we get some of our fans on tonight, of this pleasant night. What is a toxic relationship? How many of y'all been in a toxic relationship before? There are not really, but there are 22 signs, 22 toxic relationship signs. And have you ever been in a toxic relationship before? All these signs that they have, all these toxic relationship signs that come across us. Come on in. We're talking about toxic relationships. Toxic relationships, one of the signs is you feel disrespected. Do you guys ever feel disrespected? What about your needs are not met? Or are you guys' needs being met in this toxic relationship? Communication. Sometimes you have a hard time communicating with each other. Okay? We all know that communication is the key of all relationships. You don't feel free to live your life. Do you feel free? Do you feel free to live your life? Do you give more than you get in your relationship? Do you feel valued in your relationship? Do you feel valued in your relationship? Do you find yourself wondering if you like him for the attention or if you like her just for the attention? Do you find yourself resenting your partner? All of us have been in relationships. Do you find yourself resenting your partner? Self-esteem. Do you have self-esteem issues? What about, do you feel attacked and unsupported in your relationship or your marriage? And your sleeping and eating patterns can change. When you are in a toxic relationship, your eating patterns, they change. Your bedtime routine changes. Sometimes you can't sleep. You up all night because you're in a toxic relationship. You're arguing back and forth all night long, all through the day. If you have children, you're arguing in front of the kids. Sometimes it be about just the littlest thing, arguing. Do you get enough time in a day for yourself? And guys, listen up. Do you feel depressed or anxious in your relationship or your marriage? Depression plays a big role, real big role in your mental health. Do you bring out the bad qualities in one another? You have to show you and your partner have to show each other the good qualities that you have within yourself. Do you feel like you walking on eggshells around your partner? Nobody should feel like that. You shouldn't have to feel like you're walking on eggshells to your partner. You shouldn't have to feel like that. Like, no. What about your feelings? Do you think your feelings come second to your partner's feelings? Sometimes your partner will put their feelings before anything else. Sometimes it'll be all about them when it's not all about them. It's pretty much like, let's talk this out. Let's talk this thing out. But your partner, sometimes your partner thinks, oh, it's just about me. I just want to talk about myself, when it's both of you guys that's having problems in a relationship. But he or she rather just bring up how they feeling instead of let's talk about how we are feeling together. Do you ever feel gaslighted and manipulated by your partner? Do you feel your best emotionally or mentally around them? Mental health is a huge thing, not only in a relationship, but every day. Do you feel that there is lack of trust and excess jealousy? Guys, you wouldn't believe that your partner, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, they can be actually jealous of you. Like, seriously. Like, I cannot believe I'm in a relationship with someone that's jealous of me. That's crazy. Do you ever feel that way? Do you ever feel responsible for your partner's happiness? I think a lot of couples feel that way, responsible for their partner happiness. Were you ever being abused physically, emotionally, mentally, and sexually? Was you ever abused in that way in your marriage or in your relationship? I've heard a lot of stories about women being abused emotionally. Like that partner will talk down to their partner so badly and it'll frustrate the other partner. Why would you do that? You guys are together to communicate and to live as one, especially if you're married. You shouldn't be talking down to your partner at all. How do you think that make your partner feel? Horrible. Toxic relationships tend to exhibit a pattern of negativity where at least one partner causes harm in some way. Whether it's purposeful or not. Sometimes it's intentionally. Sometimes it's intentional abuse in a relationship or manipulative behaviors that can leave one partner feeling trapped or burnt out in a relationship. You can get burnt out in a relationship. You can get really burnt out in a relationship. Now, it's possible these behaviors were learned in childhood or experienced as an adult. So they have some adults that has a lot of childhood trauma, believe it or not. A lot of childhood trauma that they carry with them in the marriage. Instead of getting help at the beginning, or telling their partner before marriage that what happened to them in their childhood, and just pretty much talk about it or whatever, and they hold it in. So they hold it in, get married, and then they start acting up with their partner, and the partner trying to find out, like, figure out, like, yo, what's up? What's going on with you? Well, they start telling this story about their childhood, what happened, and all this other good stuff, and so the partner's like, "Honey, why you didn't tell me? Like, why you didn't? I mean, come on now, why you didn't tell me before we got married? We could have went to counseling. We could have sought seek help or whatever. So now you got this partner that you're married to now, that's just dealing with this old childhood trauma. Now you guys say you got kids together and all that, and now you got to go out and get help for their partner. So before marriage or whatever, you guys talk it out, find out what's going on in his or her life, before you step in and get married. You got to, otherwise things like that, and they'll bring in after the fact, and you want to grasp that before. Sometimes toxic relationships are the ones that need time and care to work through issues together, or some more trust can be built in your relationship. See, you want to have trust in your relationship, so you must talk things out before you get married. Bring things up in both of you guys' families, so you can find out if there's any need that you guys are going to be needing counseling. It's just two people who are not good. They got sometimes two people who are just not good paired for each other, and they great apart. Not good together, but great apart. I think it's important to separate the toxic relationships from accusing a partner of being a toxic person. However, both can occur at once. You gotta talk it out. There are signs of a toxic relationship, and it's the signs are there. Sometimes the partner is not. They don't want to see it. They ain't trying to hear it. They just looking at marriage. I want to get married. I want to get married. But you have to find out the other side, the other family, what's going on, before you jump into this marriage. If not, you're gonna be in for a big surprise. Your toxic relationships and abusive relationships, it can have some overlap. But relationships that involves abuse are no longer just toxic; they are abusive. If it's an abusive relationship, get out. If it's an abusive relationship, I see some friends are here. Hey, friends. Hello, this is. Hello, friends. I see you got some friends here. Some Jackson. Happy birthday, Jackson. Hi, 2025 J3Y. Come on in. Hi to everyone that's saying hi. That's good. Okay. So let's talk about control. Control in an abusive relationship, one partner is always in control. A controlling husband, wife, or partner is aware of their actions and chooses abusive behaviors to show dominance and maintain control over the other partner. It can start out as emotional abuse. That's what we just got through talking about. Emotional abuse. It can become physical over time. So, control issues are sometimes the result of relationships with large age gaps, but not always. A cycle of abuse and reconciliation. Abuse relationships can be hard to recognize. It can be. You know, you can go to your friend's house and party or go out to dinner, whatever it may be, and someone could really not know that you was in an abusive relationship. If you don't ever say nothing to them, you know, you act normal, going to family outings or to your family house, acting normal. You know, always talk about the same thing, or you know, joke about whatever, and you know, no one could ever know that you're in an abusive relationship until you tell them, or until they see something for themselves. There are cycles of abuse and different types of physical and emotional abuse, such as financial abuse. Did y'all know there was financial abuse? There is a such thing. Financial abuse. You know what your wife needs, you know what your husband needs. You guys know, take care of the bills, take care of everything together, or however y'all fix it. But just make sure you guys be one in this financial situation. Now, in a relationship, there needs to be respect. 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 And toxic relationships that turn abusive can also use physical intimacy, and abuse. Guys, we don't want that. Okay? We want to talk it out, seek help, so the cycle of abuse won't continue. Because, you know, a lot of times from that cycle of abuse, some men and women see, you know, it happen in their family when they were younger. You know, they seen their mom, they seen their dad do whatever, you know, getting abused in some type of way, and they bring it into their marriage, you know, and that's from that childhood trauma that I just talked about a little bit ago. That childhood trauma, they'll bring it into their relationship, into that marriage. They won't tell you nothing. So you have to, you know, over the time of your dating or whatever, you have to just talk about it. Talk about all kind of things. Just bring up the different subjects that you would want to know about. So that way, whenever you guys decide before you get married, you will know what you're looking for. You'll know what's you going into this marriage. You'll have a heads up, which is right. You know, all but right. You'll have a heads up. You know, that's all but right. I would do that. I would want to sit and talk about what's going on before you jump into marriage. You want to make sure it's good, you know, and it's everything is not going to be always. It's not going to be groovy every day. It's not, you know. You got your days. You got days, and sometimes you don't have your days. It's nothing is perfect. Nobody's perfect. No relationship is perfect. If somebody tells you that they have the perfect marriage, they not telling the truth. Nobody has a perfect marriage. I don't care how much money you got in the bank, what kind of car you drive, how good you look. No marriage and no relationship is perfect. The only perfect person in this whole world is God. That's it. We want to gain and get healthy relationships, healthy family relationships. That's what we want to gain from this. That we know once we get married, we good, we all right. We know how to handle things because we sought help before we got married. That's what we want to do. So this is Monday. Thank you guys for jumping on and listening and talking about toxic relationships. Have you ever been in a toxic relationship before? You can fix it. Remember, talk about it beforehand. Get it all out in the opening. Seek help if needed. And talk about it. And when you talk about it, you will feel good. Both partners will feel absolutely wonderful. Thank you guys for listening. Oh, we still live. Okay, we still live. It's okay. We can still be live.